Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining. This is Sabrina Paganoni, and I'm here at the Healy Center for ALS at Mass General. We're just giving everyone a few seconds to join from the waiting room. I think we have a good group on the line. Thank you so much for joining us. And I'm here with our patient navigator team, Kathleen Small and Alison Bullitt. And this is our weekly update. And tonight, I'm really happy to welcome Karen Parada, a research coordinator. If you can go to the next slide. We always love to go around the country virtually and meet all our great sites that are part of the Platform Trial Network. And at every site, there's a number of people working to support the trial, including investigators, nurses, coordinators, therapists, people from different professions all coming together to make the trial possible at that specific location. And it's really been a pleasure for us to get to know so many people at our over 70 sites. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to Karen, who will tell us more about her experience as a research coordinator.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you for having me. It's an honor to be able to talk to everyone today. As said, my name is Karen Parada, and I am a first-generation Latina who was born and raised in the Bay Area in California. I am the eldest of 3 siblings and come from a huge family with values centered around helping and supporting one another. So no surprise, I am in the field that I am in. Very much speaks to my core of who I am. And I'm also the proud parent of Senor Remington, who's my dog. And I realized we should go to the next screen because I have a bunch of pictures for everyone. He is he's the dog on the screen. That is my child. I have a bachelor's in cellular molecular biology and a master's in biology, and I have about 7 years of laboratory research experience. So being in a lab and doing all sorts of stuff behind the bench. After all of that time behind the bench and not really being around too many people, I really wanted the opportunity to work and connect with the participants who make research possible. There is a lot of work done behind the scenes to make trials such as the HEALEY ALS Platform Trial come to fruition, but there's the other side of it that really involves our participants who we value and really make it all happen. Without our participants, the work that we do would not be possible. As far as what I do as a clinical research coordinator, I am a coordinator for the Department of Neurology at the University of Colorado, and I have the privilege of working with our ALS patients in the HEALEY ALS Platform Trial. I'm also the recruitment specialist for our department, and I'm basically that friendly face you can chat with when you're interested in research at our site. And I'm here to answer questions, address concerns, and really just make research less scary and confusing, because there's a lot of information out there and it sometimes can be a little bit muddy for people to get through. So I'm really just here to help give information, and once participants are in the trial, kind of be that friendly face throughout the trial. And the reason I love what I do is really just that. It's the human touch to research that I find super important, and I've come to know and love having the ability to work with a lot of our participants. Research participants are not simply participants or data points. There are people who come into these research visits and tell us about their kids. They crack jokes with us, and they have allowed us to be a part of their ALS journey that is really unique and special for us as research staff on that side. And the companionship that comes with participating in research is really special and unique, and it's an approach that we take here at the University of Colorado. And what we really try to do is have a friendly face throughout this very scary experience. And that's not only beneficial to participants, but it really is essential to the research that is being done. For participants, it can provide a level of support and trust through something that can be kind of confusing and scary throughout this journey. And for research staff, it could provide a sense of meaning that we're able to do this work and also be able to connect with our participants at a very unique level. Regardless of how busy any given day or any given week is, seeing my patients at their visits is pretty much the highlight of my day. I really enjoy being able to spend time with all of my participants in the trial, and it's just really rewarding work. And I hope that sharing, why I love what I do and how we do it with our participants has shed a light on how much like we as researchers actually really do care about our participants and value the effort and all of that time that they put into being a part of this trial. And really, thank you so much to the Healy team for having me today and being able to kind of just share a little bit more about, what I do, why I love it, and why I think it's so important. And a huge shout out to Ali, Dr. Foster, Brianna, Emily, and the rest of our clinical staff who play a huge role in making this research that we do at our site possible. There's a lot of behind the scenes work that cannot be done by me alone. So thank you so much. And most importantly, thank you so much to all of our amazing patients, not only here at the University of Colorado, but across the HEALEY ALS Platform Trial as a whole. The research would simply just not be possible without you, just plain and simple. We really appreciate all of the time and effort that you put in, and thank you so much for making my day every day.
Thank you. And this is wonderful. I mean, I really love the personal touch, what you bring to the table also as a person and your personal experiences. So thank you for that. We love working with all of you at the University of Colorado. And for the people to know, we also meet as a network twice a year for our regional meetings, and then once a year at least in person with everyone at the NEALS meeting. And so that's a way we're trying to continue to learn from each other and implement the great ideas that somebody may have at one site so that they can help other sites as well. So Karen, thank you so much for being part of that. And I really love that, you said that you feel comfortable using, scientific jargon and you want to, as you say in the picture, and you I love the pictures. I have many questions about the pictures, but I'll keep going. It's wonderful that we are trying to communicate. I think that, in this day and age of many different outlets being out there for communication, and the fact that ALS research is happening at such a rapid pace with both good news and bad news, lots of news, different news coming out every day or every week, that's actually a sign that the research is active and that we have much more research than before. That's why there's so many news, because now finally we have the research going. That also makes it difficult to communicate sometimes, or I guess there's a lot to communicate. The material itself is complex. So I think that we're all trying to do our best in terms of communicating things, in a timely manner, knowing that the amount of data and the complexity of the data is actually enormous. And so with that, I think we're trying to do our best, both here at the coordination center and obviously at every site with people like Karen, who does that, kind of on the ground, and then, with actual participants one-on-one, and that's really important. So I think we need both. We need both sort of central resources, papers, webinars, ways to communicate broadly, but also that one-on-one touch, that personal connection that makes things much more tangible and real for people. So thank you for being there. And with that, if we can go to the next slide. We are here for you again to continue to communicate. We have weekly webinars. Apologies for canceling the one on April 4th. That's due to an overlapping conference. But other than that, we will continue to have this. As you know, we had the weekly webinar series focused on the platform trial. We have the monthly series on expanded access. Really excited to announce that on April 15th for the April issue, we will have our patient advocate, Sean of Tech versus ALS, join us. He has really moved mountains and made EAP possible at different sites. So thank you for joining and to share what you have been doing for bringing EAPs to to more sites. I do want to put in a plug for the ALS link. You see the QR code there. That also is a way to stay up to date with our weekly webinar registrations. We send out notices so that people know how to register. And also we send out information about other channels, other ways to get information. We're not the only one who provide, the only ones who provide information. We have many other partners, and we know many other organizations, such as the NILS Consortium and others, who have great resources. So with that in mind, I think we have one more slide just for a few more links. For example, we have the NILS website with lots of great webinars. They always try to bring relevant and timely webinars to explain the complex science that is finally happening so quickly in ALS, and that's actually good that we have many projects. It's also hard sometimes to keep up with all the news, so they're trying to kind of distill it down and really bring you the most important news. And also the International Alliance of ALS MND Associations is another resource for excellent webinars and other publications. So I will say we continue to synergize and help each other and spread the word about all the great webinars, and there's more groups that also have webinars. So with that in mind, I think we're gonna take down the slides and take a few questions. And so I see, we try to keep this webinar focused on the platform trial, and then, as you know, expanded access for the, expanded access webinar series. And, we always get, a lot of questions about other trials. So I will start with the questions about the platform trial. And again, the reason there are also other webinars by other groups like NILS or the Alliance or others is also to ask questions about other studies, but I'll try to take as many as I can about non-platform trial studies as well. So the first question is, the question about targets. I think that's an important one. Each drug that we have tested so far in the platform trial, from regimen A through regimen E, they've all had different targets. And so the question is, are there more targets? Absolutely. In fact, we have more questions than ever, more targets than ever, I'm sorry, in ALS. And in fact, regimens F and G test a different target compared to the previous regimens. F and G actually happen to target the same pathway between F and G, because that's very exciting. That's definitely at the forefront. So both are targeting that. But I can already say that we're working with other companies. Hopefully we will finalize all the contracts soon so that we're able to announce the next new regimens that will target other pathways. So there's definitely no shortage of targets, pathways, ideas, companies in this space. And in fact, one question is about whether we're going to be adding more drugs or not. Yes, absolutely. We're working hard on them. So we are always, a fascinating aspect of the platform trial is that there's always something going on. In other words, we are starting new regimens, maintaining current regimens, completing the analysis of the previous ones. So there's always kind of, something happening. And so we'll continue to bring you updates. So there's a question about regimen G. And so there's a question about enrollment, and I want to take that. So we have had a good problem, but it's also a very challenging problem in the sense that the request for enrollment in the platform trial has never been higher. I mean, honestly, we have so much interest, and I just want to thank all of the people who are interested in the platform trial, all of the sites. I think this is a testament to all the work that's going into this trial, because we really have a lot of interest in enrollment. That has created the fact that we enrolled, we're getting very close to completing enrollment in F&G. That has not happened yet, but we're getting very, very close. And that means that we have a lot of people in the screening process. So what that means is that when people come in, they have to be screened in order to know if they're eligible or not. We have such a large number of people in the screening process and such an overwhelming number of requests for people to be screened that unfortunately we will have to turn a few people away, simply because of the overwhelming number of requests. And so I just want people to know that we're doing our very best to give a spot to as many people as possible. This has been incredibly fluid and dynamic with over 70 sites across the country. Before we always had kind of a regimen enrolling. And so, if one regimen would come close to enrollment, then, people could go to the next one. Right now, we have not completed enrollment yet in FNG, but we're very close. And the next few regimens will come in a few months. So I'm really sorry that some people will not find a spot. There are other trials that are enrolling for ALS that are not related to the platform trial. I'm really sorry if things are happening very fast, but hopefully you can, talk to your physician and see if there is something else going on that you could qualify for. And in fact, there is a question about, are there other updates about other trials? Absolutely. There are other groups that are having webinars about all the other trials. Again, the NILS Consortium, the International Alliance, I believe Everything ALS has a lot of webinars, ALS TDI, the ALS Association and MDA have some webinars. So again, there are other webinars for, again, other trials. And I'm sorry that this is, a little complex. So I know that some people are sharing their personal experience. If you, if you could maybe send an email to Catherine, definitely we'll call you back. If you can send an email to Catherine so that we can call you about this. So again, the questions are coming in quickly, so I'll just try to take as many as possible about the platform trial. So the question about the results of the previous regimens. So we recently announced that unfortunately regimen E testing trialos was not effective, and so that's definitely something that it's always disappointing when we find that out. I want to mention that we're working hard on scheduling a webinar to explain the results to the broader community. We did have a webinar with all the participants. All the participants were invited, both the participants in regimen E and the participants in the expanded access program that was basically giving the same drug. So we wanted to talk to them first because they donated their time and efforts to participate in regimen E. So that has been done. And that's after that we announced the results this week. And now we're working on scheduling a webinar. And in fact, Catherine, we probably is going to be on a Thursday, one of the upcoming ones. So we're working hard now to make sure that all the right people, including the statisticians who can explain the results well, can be on the call and explain to the entire community. So not just to the sites or to the actual participants, but to everyone. So stay tuned for that. And I know that there's been a different press release from the company. Again, I just think it's important to have a webinar so that we can explain the results. We have a big group of statisticians that have looked at this very carefully, and we'll explain that soon. There's a question about regimen F, whether neurofilament is measured. Yes, absolutely. In fact, we measure neurofilaments in every single regimen of the platform trial. We've done that for the previous ones. We're doing it for the current ones, and we will continue doing that. There's also some emerging biomarkers measuring TDP-43, which is a protein that we know is important in ALS. And there are some biomarkers that are emerging. So we will be measuring a number of biomarkers related to that pathway. So that's definitely more to come on that. So that there's a few questions about sort of, the results of the previous trial. So I want to say that the previous regimens had negative results on the primary outcome as was announced. That doesn't mean that the trial failed in the sense that we are actually gathering a lot of information. Number one, it's important to test each drug very carefully with high quality data to be able to tell a decisive result, whether it's positive or negative. And we are learning from every result. The people who participated in the placebo groups, their data continues to inform the trial. So their participation essentially in terms of benefiting current regimens and future regimens, continues to do so. we have a very large number of biosamples and biomarker studies going on thanks to their participation as well. So I do want to emphasize the fact that the trial has a primary goal of testing individual drugs. It has also a goal of adding knowledge to ALS science, and we're doing that whether each regimen is positive or negative in terms of the primary outcomes. And then in terms of biomarkers, we continue to add new biomarkers, actually. So I know there's some specific questions about specific biomarkers. We have a biomarker committee with some of the best biomarker experts in ALS, and we continue to review all the new data to add new biomarkers. So that can be done in new regimens, but also remember that we have a lot of banked samples from previous regimens. That's why it's very important to think about the trial as a collaborative experience, where in addition to testing drugs, we also learn from the banked samples because we're testing new biomarkers on them. That's very different from standalone trials where the infrastructure is taken down and not used in the future. So that's another concept. When we do the platform trial, it's a collaborative effort with the ALS community so that we can actually learn whether the drug is positive or not. We continue to share the learnings and the biosamples, and that's actually a key differentiator. So we will continue to test the new biomarkers that are being developed right now. And so there's a couple of questions about unrelated trials. There's a general questions about, what percentage of people participate in trials and things like that. So I'll try to do my best. I know they're not related to the platform trial itself. And so I can take a few questions in general. So we're looking at, whether we could potentially test combination of drugs. That's certainly on our mind. I don't know right now what percentage of people participate in ALS trials. I can tell you that certainly we have many more trials now and many more people participating than before. So I think, I don't have all the numbers, but I would say that it's increasing, at least to some extent, but we need to do more. And we're trying to, all the drugs that are being included have, again, different targets. They may have bigger or smaller regimens and sample sizes in the future. All of this is based on a number of considerations. So so I think, more to come. We continue to be very active. We will be announcing new regimens over the next few months as the contracts are signed. We are definitely in conversations with many new partners, and we continue to add biomarkers and other statistical innovations in terms of analysis. Again, new ways of analyzing data into the new regimen. So again, more to come on that. I also want to make a comment about other trials. I know there's a few questions about the Relivro trial or other trials that have read out recently. Just want to mention that, whenever a trial is announced, there's a lot of data that needs to be carefully evaluated. So I expect more information to become available over the next few weeks. I will say that I know I'm helping to, the company to prepare presentations and publications. The data will be announced in greater detail. So I think it's important to also, work quickly to analyze the data, knowing that the amount of data and the amount of information is really massive. And so all of this will be shared with everyone as soon as possible. So I hope that answers your question. And I tried to take as many questions as I could, mostly focusing on the platform, but I just want to give you the last word, Karen, and if you have anything to share before we end.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. I know it's a interesting time. I think there's a lot of interest in the HEALEY ALS platform trial, and I think it speaks to how, innovative the trial is. And I know that as soon as we have, words on what is to come next, I hope to be back and potentially walk through what that enrollment process looks like and really hit the ground running with all of our amazing potential participants who are interested. And just thank you so much for having me. And thank you to everyone who joined. We really appreciate y'all's interest.
Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.